Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Brawl Stars. Today is going to be a very special video. I have two of the top players inside the entire world right now. Actually, I do have the #1 player on the line, Keith, and ThatOneGuy. Tog, how you doing, man? Welcome back to the channel.
Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing fantastic. Today we are going to rank all of the brawlers. When you were coming up with your rankings, was it pretty easy for you, or did you have to kind of spend a lot of time?
There were some brawlers where you had to put one on top of the other, or just you had to debate if they were worth that one spot above. But for the most part, there's an established list of who's the best and who's not the best.
Yeah, and I was telling you this off air because we're recording this gameplay before time because, you know, easier to do the gameplay when we're not talking about the tier list. But I was saying that, man, if you look at your list, which you guys are going to see in just a second, it's like flip-flopped on how it was like 2 months ago. Do you think the balance changes obviously have really dramatically shifted the game in terms of the power rankings?
Yeah, there have been some huge buffs and nerfs to a lot of brawlers. You've seen Colt get repeatedly buffed on his health, his reload speed, and he went from, like, I would say, a middle tier to even bottom brawler at the start of the game to now he's one of the top. Same with Crow. He was an underwhelming brawler, and now you see him almost everywhere.
Yeah, it's crazy. And Keith, man, welcome to the channel first off, and congratulations on being the best player in the world.
Great to be here, man, and thanks a lot.
No problem. So answer once and for all, are you a robot? Are you real?
No, I'm all flesh and bones here.
Unbelievable. I told this on a previous Brawl Stars video, but early on you were in my band and Elite Gaming, and you were just a random guy. It was like the first day of beta or whatever. And I was playing, and at first I was like, man, we are doing really well. And then like after, we must have went like, I don't even know what the record was, but it was insane, like maybe 50-1 or something. And I was like, wait a second, we're not doing well. Keith is doing well, and he's totally carrying us. To what do you attribute your amazing Brawl Stars skills, man?
Well, I honestly don't know. It might just be reaction speed from just playing video games, like my whole life almost, I'd say.
Yeah, did you play a previous mobile game, or?
I played a little bit of Clash Royale, but I've always been more into like shooters or RPG games on console.
Nice, man. And you also lead the #1 band in the world, Invictus. So, yeah, how's that? It's basically a collection of the best players in the game right now. So how's that going? Everything cool there in Invictus?
Oh, yeah, it's great. It's never been better. We just recently opened up 2 new bands, merging with some other ones, and just to like expand the group, I'd say.
Yeah,
give
man.
like lower players a chance to become of the family earlier.
Dominating the scene. Is there any place do you have any band right now with room in case any of my viewers want to join one of the best orgs in the game?
We've got Invictus Flame. That'd probably be or Invictus Alpha.
All right,
Those are the 2 lowest we have right now.
All right, Invictus Flame or Invictus Alpha. Got it. Well, Keith, why don't you go ahead and lead things off here and cover or start by sharing who is the worst brawler inside the entire game, number 18 on your master list.
Number 18 was pretty easy for me, honestly. It's going to be Tara.
Oof. Poor Tara. Why? Give your thoughts on Tara and why she's so abysmal.
Well, when she first came out, she was very, very strong, and I think the devs just kind of took the feedback from the community and kind of ran with it too far and just dropped her too much.
Yeah. So you think a buff is definitely in order, obviously?
Yeah, they need to retain some of the drop stats.
All right. Actually, before we move on, I should mention that we had 2 lists, Tog and Keith, and they were so close. Like, you only had 1 space between a couple brawlers, so that was really incredible to me. So what we did was we kind of combined lists, so that's what we're going by right now. So, Tog, why don't you start us out or continue with number 17 brawler in the game?
All right, so my number 17 after the poor Tara would be Ricochet. It's not that he's necessarily a weak brawler, but he's not good in many modes outside of bounty and some heist maps. he has rather low versatility, and there's just a lot better options than him. He's been getting buffed. Continue.
No, go ahead. Sorry about that.
He's been getting buffs recently, but they're still just... Colt is just a way better choice than him in almost every situation.
Yeah, Colt definitely a powerful range unit. Keith, what about number 16?
Number 16, I've got Piper listed.
Okay, talk a little bit about Piper. She was, close to number 1 for a while there, I'd assume.
Oh, yeah, when she first came out, she was one of the best brawlers. Well, people didn't know how to avoid her, and she was also very strong just in-game stat-wise. But now that she's been toned down like twice in the last balance changes, and plus just for overall versatility, she's not good on Heist. She does not really work on Brawl Ball. She's only good on a handful of SNG maps, although she does dominate Bounty.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think that, just a follow-up question too, based on, obviously this master list is kind of an aggregated of all the events instead of just, one certain. So obviously all these brawlers are going to be stronger in certain events than others. So maybe if you guys just want to touch on, especially lower on the list, like you just did on Piper, like, oh, she's really good at X, Y, or Z, that'd be cool. So let's move on to 15 though. Tog, what do you think?
15 we have listed as Bo. Bo has always been a lower tier brawler in the game, but with the balance change before last, we saw him get an extra mine, and he had a supposed just increased visual effect on his mines.
Okay.
But that buff was huge. That 4th mine it actually covered so much more of the map. And then, so Bo was starting to get some use. He was becoming a higher up brawler for even SNG. And then people complained about that 4th mine, and we saw the devs nerf him. They took down his health, they raised his damage by 25%, but then they took away a mine, and they took away the most crucial part of him, the knockback on his mines. So now the mines don't juggle people anymore, and if you get hit by one, it's easy to just dodge the rest, and he's just an underwhelming brawler.
So if it was up to you, would you go back to the old version of Bo?
If it was up to me, I would keep his damage the same, add the 4th mine back with no knockback on the mines.
Interesting. Good solution there. How about 14, Keith?
14 is Mr. Mortis.
What?
Yes.
I'm surprised, man. I thought Mortis would be like top 5.
It's another one that's been brutally hit by the balance changes.
Mm-hmm.
He got his health dropped and his movement speed lowered. Just a lot easier to take out now.
Do you think that Mortis is one of the higher skill brawlers? Like, cause I've still run up against people who are just beasts with Mortis.
Yeah, definitely. There's a handful of brawlers that can only really excel in the hands of a very skilled player that knows what they're doing, and he's one of them.
Yeah. What do you think your strongest, maybe like 2 or 3 brawlers are?
Just personally?
Yeah.
I'd have to say Crow and Dynamike.
Yeah. Easy when they're so well, we don't want to spoil anything. We don't want to spoil anything, but they're up there on the list. All right, let's move on to the list here. We'll spend more time on the brawlers when we get to the top. But that one guy, who do you have at 13?
13 we have listed as Bull. Bull used to be one of the most used brawlers in the game purely for heist. Mm-hmm. Bull's ability to charge in and deal like 10% to near 10% with a single shot at point blank to the safe was huge to offense and even defense when you caught someone going around through a bush. But now that the heist meta has evolved and you've got a lot of more defensive comps, I'm not going to say those comps because I'm not going to spoil the list, but Bull's just a very underwhelming brawler, but he's still strong mostly in bounty maps such as Terracotta or Snake Prairie.
Yeah, I think that, and you touched on Heist being the preferred game mode for you guys, the top players in the game. Can you tell us like briefly about why that is?
Heist, I would say it's a really high skill capped game mode. Whereas if you outskill someone, if you outskill the other team, you're going to win on offense or defense. It's not really a touch and go like it used to be when the game first came out and offense was heavily favored, or weeks later when defense was heavily favored.
So you still think that, because I feel like as a not top player, I feel like you still have a bit of an advantage on offense. You don't agree with that anymore?
Oh, I do agree with that, but it's not nearly as
Okay.
substantial as it was before. I'd say it depends on the map, but over all of Heist, I'd say it's probably a 55-45 in favor of offense.
Okay, Keith, do you pretty much agree with that?
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
It depends on the map.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on with the list here. Keith, you're up with number 12.
Number 12 is Jessie. Although she hasn't been affected by any recent balance changes too harshly, it's just the insurgence of Barley and Dynamike has been like a side nerf to her.
That's true, that's true.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can really do as a Jessie when they have a Barley or a Dynamike. Like, you can try to play a defensive turret, but if they have the middle, they're still going to lose it.
Yeah, so true. If Dynamike and Barley weren't so popular, would you think that she might be like closer to top 5 or tier 1 brawler?
Yeah, she'd be up there. It's just she's just so hard countered by them, and they're just almost in every game now.
Yeah. Well, she's kind of a control-y type brawler. What about the next brawler here at number 11, Tog?
At number 11, we have Spike.
Yes. Poor Spike. Why is he in the middle of the pack, and what prevents him from being like top of the list?
I'd say the worst thing about Spike is his non-versatility throughout modes. He's not going to be useful in Heist. He's not going to be useful in really any mode besides Brawl Ball or SMG. You can sometimes find use with him in Bounty, but he's not a bad brawler. He's just very situational.
Yeah. What do you think the best comp would be with a Spike for like SNG?
The best comp I've ran with Spike would be I'd say Spike, Crow, Shelly.
Nice. That's like an OG comp, I feel like. All right, Keith, number 10.
Number 10 is Pam.
Pam. All right.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about Pam.
Well, if you do get the scenario where the other team doesn't happen to have a Barley or Dynamike, you are going to dominate a game. It's just plain and simple as that. Like, the healing buff and all the new buffs to Pam have just made her into a beast.
Yeah. Do you think that she's right in the middle of the pack. Do you think that she's really well balanced overall?
Yeah, she's balanced. I have her in the middle just because there is no use for her on game modes like Heist. And Brawl Ball is very iffy, I'd say. Like, she could be used on Bounty very well and SNG very well, but we want map versatility and game type versatility.
All right. Well, if you're gonna use her on say Bounty, what would you say the best comp for a Pam would be?
Well, Pam Poco is just a deadly combination. Just all the healing that goes on there. That's always a great sidekick for Pam.
Yeah.
Another great option would be a thrower like Dynamike with a little more HP, or Barley would still work. Piper, any of the usual Bounty like brawlers.
Cool. Let's move on to number 9 then. That one guy?
At number 9, we have my personal favorite brawler to use, Nita.
Ooh. All right. I feel like Nita's kind of, she's still top half, or just kind of rounding off the top half of the brawlers on the tier list here. Do you think that I felt like early on again she was maybe top 5? Do you think that she's taking a little bit of a hit, or?
I'm not exactly sure what nerfs have been done to Nita. I just couldn't keep track of them. I know they've slowed her super recharge speed, and she hasn't gotten any buffs, and with all the other brawlers around her getting buffs, the cult buffs, especially the Dynamike and Barley buffs, her bear is pretty underwhelming, and that was one of the best parts about her when the game was new.
Yeah, definitely, and I really like this add-on question that I've added halfway through the list, but what would be a recommended comp for Nita?
Nita, purely for SMG, I'd say Nita, Shelly, and then you could switch out the third, probably Poco or Jessie.
Okay. How about number 8, Keith?
Number 8 is Poco. He's made his way back up on my list after the last balance change. Before, he would have been in the bottom 3, but the most recent one that happened about a week or two back buffed his damage back up to 200 and reduced his super recharge rate, so a lot of help there.
Raised his healing.
Yes, also the healing. Done.
Yeah, Poco is my favorite brawler, personally. What would you be a recommended Poco comp for you? We just talked about the pan one.
Yeah, another control-y type comp where you're gonna like lock onto the middle and just hold that till you have 10 gems. So something like Jesse could work. Dynamike for stealing the team back. Brock. Shelly would be great as well. Anything that's gonna push the other team back and keep them out of your little box in the middle.
Nice. Okay, let's go to number 7. Talk.
7, we have the previous best brawler in the game, unanimously voted, Shelly.
Yes, longtime favorite. So tell us a little bit about Shelly, man.
All right, so of course, when the game first came out, Showdown was dominated by El Primo, and then nobody really had a counter to El Primo until someone had to start using Shelly and realized that she is the best close to mid-range brawler in the game. Mm-hmm. And now, after a lot of complaining by a lot of the community, Shelly took a big hit. I think she had her range reduced. She had her... What was it? What were all the nerfs?
The spread was widened.
Yes, the spread was widened a bit along the end.
Yeah, she definitely...
There's one more nerf I can't think of. Her reload speed was lowered by, I think, 0.1 second.
Yeah, but she's still high on the list, though, so she's still good, obviously.
Yes, she's still a very solid brawler, but she's a lot more skillful now. You have to be able to hit your close range shots with high accuracy to keep your high damage output. Before, you could just snipe them from what felt like the entire map with Shelly, which didn't feel right for a player with a shotgun. But now she's much more balanced than she was before, but still a solid brawler.
All right. Keith, number 6.
Number 6 is Colt. He's been working his way up very slightly. A lot of the recent SNG maps I'm finding are a lot more open-based, so Colt is actually making a splash on the SNG scene now. Just because of his like DPS and his range, it's just deadly. And then on Heist, I find Colt is the main carry in most comps, because the main objective in Heist usually is to get the Barley's ult to the safe to end the game, at least on attack. Mm-hmm. And you're not going to do that unless the Colt is landing his shots and clearing the team out. Like, it's just crazy how much work he can do. And Bounty as well, it's pretty much the same thing as SNG, just no gems, just a lot of killing. Colt's great at that. And Brawl Ball, I'd say it's probably his weakest game mode, but he could still find a use there.
Yeah.
Wait, I just have to add something in here. You think he's better in Showdown than in Brawl Ball?
I don't really keep Showdown in mind that much anymore, to be honest. But yeah, he's definitely... Showdown would be his worst, definitely.
Who do you, just out of curiosity, well, I'll ask at the end of the list. I was going to ask who you think the best brawler at every game mode, but I'll ask at the very end. So let's go on to number 5 here. Tog.
All right, so number 5, we have El Primo. El Primo went from the number 1 brawler at the very start of the game to probably the worst brawler, and now he's making his way back up.
Yeah, way back
El
up.
Primo. I don't think El Primo got any significant buff between him being very underused and being used a lot. But I feel like there was just a little secret nerf that increased the size of his hitbox, because it feels like it's a lot easier to hit those shots and from longer range.
Yeah, what do you think the best... I mean, it's kind of obvious, but the best way to play El Primo is... What are you trying to do when you get into that melee range? What's the exact perfect sweet spot to be?
You want to be, depending on which way they're running, you want to be aiming above them or below them, just to make sure that you have a little leeway with your shots depending on which way they're planning to go after if they're trying to juke you.
Okay, so aiming basically in the direction that they're moving.
Exactly, and
A little bit more.
like if you want to use them a lot in combination with teammates, like if you have a teammate chasing them from below, you always want to aim up, because if they're going down into your teammate, then what are they really going to do?
Yeah, for sure. Primo definitely really strong. What would you pair him with? Range units or brawlers?
Primo can really be paired with a lot of brawlers just because of his ability to jump and get to anyone for a clear. I'd say the best brawlers with him would be Shelly, Crow, Barley, and maybe Colt.
Okay. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 4 brawler, Keith.
Number 4, we have Brock.
Brock.
Just absolute deadly now. Like, before, for the longest time, he was always the most slept-on brawler. Just underappreciated.
He was made fun of.
Yeah, he was the running joke of the game. Basically, the only way you could level him up was with a really good heist team. It was really rough before, but with these recent patches, oh my god, the super. That's all I have to say. Like,
Yeah,
you
can
hit
take
2
out half the
people.
map.
Yeah, it covers such a wide range, and you hit like 1 or 2 people in the duration of the super, and you almost have another one ready already.
Insane. Who would you most like to pair Brock with?
Somebody that's gonna keep the other team a little bit pushed back, so you have some range to work with. Like a Crow would be perfect. A Shelly, Anita, just anything that's gonna keep the other team back.
All right. Well, we have 3 brawlers left, and we don't know the order, but we're going to find out number 3. And that one guy's going to introduce him. Who is it?
Dynamike.
All right. So Dynamike is number 3 in the game. What puts him right below Barley?
Well, you just kind of gave away the rest of the list.
No, I mean, not okay. Below Barley. Below. Not right below, just below.
Yeah, just below, just below.
Just below. So what puts him below Barley?
So Mike, he used to also be one of the running jokes in the game. And then just out of nowhere, he just got some huge buffs. They raised his damage by a lot. They raised his super damage. His super damage has been raised almost 40% from the start of the game. He can bring almost half the brawlers in the game down to 1 shot from every other brawler in the game. And his bomb detonation speed was reduced massively, and so now it's way easier to hit your shots. And just, he's in a hard counter to Pam and Jesse because of the ability to throw over walls and break their turrets.
Do you think that he, and Barley, I guess, do you think that he's strong in pretty much every game mode now?
I wouldn't say he's necessarily strong in Showdown. He's only strong in Showdown if you're teaming with him.
Okay. That's fair. But everything else, like Brawl Ball, you'd roll with Dynamike?
Brawl Ball, like he's one of the top brawlers in Brawl Ball. But yeah, Bounty.
Basically topping everything, huh? Now that you think of it, right? Because like,
yeah,
he's great. All right. Well, number 2, I kind of ruined it a little bit, but Keith, who's number 2?
It's Barley.
So talk about Barley versus Dynamike, and what situations you might prefer Barley, and what maybe you might prefer Dynamike.
I really like Dynamike when I need, like, when I'm rolling with other brawlers that need the map opened up, like say a Piper, or if you're on Heist and you're running with Rico, you can blow open the whole wall so he has areas to shoot at. I also find, even with all the buffs, Mike is still a higher skill cap brawler than Barley. Like, if it's in the right hands, you can do more work with a Barley, but for the majority of the player base, they're gonna do, they're gonna perform much better with Barley, just because it's got a wider spread attack range. It does the double tick, and the ult just covers so much room.
Are you ever, with Dynamike and Barley, are you ever like spamming your attacks, or are you still trying to aim every single hit?
For the ult?
No, for like on SNG or something, like, will you ever just use his attack almost to kind of protect an area?
Yes, definitely for area control sometimes. Like, say there's some gems or a low health teammate and you see the enemy advancing, you can just throw something in their way just to stop them off for a brief moment. It's great for that.
A brief moment with Barley? you got 4 seconds of coverage.
It's crazy. Yeah, it's weird to see Dynamike and Barley like at number 2 and number 3, but that only leads us to one brawler left, so it's none other than Crow. Number 1 brawler in the game. Unbelievable, because at the beginning, just like all the other brawlers we talked about today, he was like kind of, like, why is he a legendary, kind of. But now, Keith, why don't you start out? What do you think about Mr. Crow? And do you think he needs to be nerfed? Is he like Shelly OP like previous patches, or do you like him this powerful?
He's definitely not Shelly OP, at least anymore. Like the recent slight nerf they did definitely took off some of the heat a little bit, but he's still the best in the game. He's manageable now, though. I don't think he's like miles above the rest. It's just because of his versatility that makes him so like well-rounded. The reason he's at the top of the list. Yeah,
and that one guy, how do you play Crow? What would be the best way to play Crow? Don't watch what I do, guys. Listen to what they say.
The way you play Crow should all depend on the game mode.
Okay. So run us through, like, quickly.
All right, so Brawl Ball, you want to always be keeping their team poisoned, because once, like, if they can't regen their health, then you can easily advance on them, and that's when you can go in for a quick score.
Okay.
Bounty, you want to play back with him. This is where you usually want to have, like, a Piper or throwers with you. They can never really mount a push against you because the poison's just keeping them low or out of your range. SNG is almost the same thing as Bounty. You're just able to control so much of the map with his poison and keep them from health regenning. Mm-hmm. And not having health regen is just huge, because think, every time you hit him, that's 5 ticks of poison. That's 5 to 6 seconds you're keeping them out of the map, and then keeping them out of the fight, and then another 5 while they actually regen their health.
Very true, very true. Heath, yeah. Oh, sorry. Yeah, Heist. Yeah, my bad.
Well, Heist. Defense, you want to be a pest. You want to be on their side. You want to keep their health low so they can't all 3 get against you for their one big push that's going to take it. For offense, it's almost the same thing as Bounty and SNG. You just want to keep their health low, and sometimes you can even just jump in and just distract their team while you get a quick few throws onto the safe, while your teammates can just come in, clean up, and a lot of the time with Crow, it's one push victories.
Crazy. Yeah, Crow's a beast. And I mean, we haven't been talking too much about Showdown, but any thoughts on Showdown?
Showdown, he's still a very solid brawler. I believe he's still at 750 health. Being able to poison people, and the most important thing for using him in Showdown is you have to get crates early, because if you get stuck in a 1v1 at the end of the game and you're a 750 health Crow versus a 1,900 health Shelly, your chances are slim.
Very true, very true. Anything to add on Crow, Keith?
Not really. Pretty much covered all the bases there.
Nice. So, guys, before we let you go, real quick, each game mode, best brawler. Keith, start with you.
Each game mode, best brawler. All right. I'm going to go with, for Heist first, since I play it the most, definitely Crow. Just because he's completely replaced Bull. He works in every comp, basically. You always need somebody going at the safe, getting in close and distracting the team. For SNG, I'm going to actually say Barley here. Just because he can, with the layout of many maps, he can just abuse the wall system and take out a Crow in a 1v1. So he would definitely take the top of my list for SNG. For Bounty, I'm going to say Piper, just because even though they have changed the layouts of some maps, most are still like played towards the range, and she just dominates at range. There's no better brawler that's going to win a 1v1 or anything like that with some decent space between you. For Showdown, I would have to say Shelly or Primo. It's very close between the two of them. Very close. I'd probably say Shelly, just because I'm not too experienced with Showdown myself. And Brawl Ball, it's an easy Primo. Easy. He is the god of Brawl Ball in my eyes. Just dominates.
Yeah, he's definitely, that's probably one of the reasons for his surge in the rankings, at least
Yes.
in a small part. That one guy, I'm going to challenge you here. Pick your favorite for each game mode other than what Keith picked.
Oh, come on. Come on.
I'm
Switching
giving you the
things
hard
up
stuff,
here.
man.
All right. I've got to start with Heist. Best brawler in Heist besides Crow, Colt.
Okay.
Colt is just, it's like Keith said earlier when we were talking about Colt. Colt can carry a team, just hitting all your shots. His DPS is just massive, and if you have a Colt and he's not doing his job, you're not going to succeed. SNG, best besides Barley. Best besides Barley, I'd have to go with Crow. Just his versatility. The only brawlers he's particularly weak to depend on the map, but it's mostly going to be Barley, not really Dynamike anymore. I'd say his weakest really is just to Barley.
Yeah.
Bounty, this just doesn't seem fair at all with like me not being able to pick Piper, but I'd probably
you're playing with Keith, so you can't pick the same brawler.
I know. I'd have to. It depends on the map, but I'd have to go with either of the throwers, preferably Barley. Just the area coverage to be able to force a team to retreat or force them into a corner and get some kills at the end of the game is huge.
Mm-hmm.
What's left? Showdown and Brawl Ball?
That's it.
Showdown, Keith said Shelly, so of course I have to say Primo.
Indeed. How about the third?
Bull.
Okay, all right. So Bull has a use somewhere out there. And what about Brawl Ball?
Brawl Ball. It's tough because Primo just leads it by a lot, but I'm like 50-50 between Shelly and Barley.
Okay. Well, guys, there you have it. We've ranked every single brawler by two of the top players in the entire game, and we even talked about the game modes. I really enjoyed this conversation, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having us.
No problem.
Yeah, it was a great time.
Absolutely. We got to do this again and just like think of different topics. I think people will really enjoy this. Any like shout outs, anything like that before we let you go? We'll start with you, Keith.
I'm just going to shout out the official Invictus Twitter page and my own, Invictus Brawl Stars and Keith_Brawl Stars.
And that one guy?
Just shout out to all of Invictus.
Sweet.
We've committed to owning the game really, and it's working.
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. Huge props for that, especially the working part, But we'll definitely include a link, guys, to the social media of Keith, Invictus, and that one guy. Make sure you follow them and let them know what you think of the list. Let them know if you agree or disagree with any of their choices. But I think it was a really great list, guys. Thanks again for coming on. Really appreciate it. So, guys, that is going to do it today. Huge shout out to my YouTube partner, Bren Chong. Make sure you check him out in the description below. And as always, take care, guys.